how tough or easy was for you to prepare for the SSB and that entire jumla of interview and written exams and all such? So any
I
specific?
No, actually, yeah, I didn't prepare for it because uh, I, I I just I just said that I'm going to go there, and because I knew one thing, I had understood that this is a personality test, it's an attitude test. A lot of people prepared, for SSB and still prepared for SSB by getting overtly physical. Physically fit, they'll make you in the academy.
Correct, correct.
The academy, they'll turn you into a horse. That's okay. So that's what they do for a living. That's not very difficult for them. It might be difficult for us, but not for them. And the instructors, they'll do it. Uh, I I said I'm going to be truthful about it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to fake my responses. I'm going to tell the truth, and let's see where this takes me. And I did prepare a little bit. I read up on various things. There was this book. I don't know whether they still have it. Manorma.
True,
Yeah.
true.
So I read Manorma a little bit, and I prepared. I read the newspapers. So during my time, there was no social media and there was no access of news on, because there were no mobile phones also during our time. So this is how it happened. And then I went with a prayer in my heart. I went and they announced my chest number. Us time pe aise hota tha, they would announce your chest number that you got through, and suddenly it was done, and it happened. Yeah, that's how it happened. Yes.
But then first time जब आप Allahabad गए थे sir, so how was that feeling of not making it or wash out वाला जो scene था पूरा?
It was like a holiday which the government was paying for. No, they paid for our tickets, and we went there, and all of us were in this big tent, and it was a lot of fun. And I made some friends, and it was a picnic. We were pretty happy-go-lucky. मतलब ऐसा नहीं था कि यार ये ना you're going for a SSB and career बनेगा, फौज में जाऊंगा, कोर कमांडर बनूंगा. ऐसा तो कुछ था नहीं अपना. तो जैसे कई आजकल youngsters है ना. I interviewed somebody for Patriot, and so what do you want to become? So I thought this guy will say that, you know, one day I want to command my unit. He said, no, I want to become a corps commander. I said, cut. I said, you're not supposed to say that. Ye sab mat bolna. You see, it's like, so I didn't even know. I didn't know. It was because nobody from my family was in the army. My father was a policeman. He was from the IPS, and my mother was a homemaker, and none of our relatives were in the forge. So I had no idea about the forge. Allahabad was a happier memory because we just had fun in Allahabad, and we failed, which is okay, but we had a lot of fun in Allahabad. And then again I tried, and again I got through, and then went to Bhopal, and this time we cracked Bhopal, and then got the letter that you have to join the Officers Training Academy. So I joined.
So SSB में sir एक कोई ऐसे सवाल या something which you thought had nailed me करके ये सवाल की वजह से मैं अंदर पहुंच गया था. होता है ना sir, all of us have gone through that, so I'm sure कुछ तो होगा sir. Though I'm taking you very back in your memory still.
हाँ, मुझे याद नहीं है, but I don't know. But this time I said, in Allahabad, I made it very complicated. So I was trying to speak about this and that. I said, no. They want to see a truthful you. They don't want to see a complicated or a sophisticated you, or they don't want to see a fake you. What they want to see is the real you in the army, and because but what the army, navy, or the air force will ultimately prepare you for is battle. Yeah. And essentially, I spoke to an ex-army officer. He's a veteran at that point in time, and I met him in Delhi, and he said that, son, they're preparing you for war. Even the day they are selecting you in the SSB, that is what is at the back of their mind, whether it's the Army, Navy, or the Air Force. That is what they're thinking at the back of their mind, that one day when this youngster becomes an officer, and when there is a war, he will be required to lead men into battle. And that is the framework in which they are selecting. They're not just selecting you for a government job. They're trying to select a leader. And what comprises of a leader? So he told me a few things which I remember, which I, with your permission, like to repeat here. And he said that here, they're looking for integrity. They're looking for brotherhood. They're looking for team spirit. They're looking for a person who can lead by example. A person, if he commits a mistake, he can step up and say that, so, I messed up. it's my fault. A person who can take care of his team. They're looking for these things. Don't try to, show that you're supremely physically fit, or don't try to say that you're super intelligent, because, and he told me one thing which I remember till this date, that he says the armed forces selection is different from any other selection in the country, because they are not looking for the best person, they're looking for the right person. And there is a difference between the best person and the right person. Because best you can quantify. You can say that, okay, this is a physical test and this guy is a national level athlete. So by all logic, he should be the first one getting through because he's come first. Or a person from the IIT, he's cracked every possible exam, the toughest possible exam in the country he's cracked. He's been through IIT, so he should be. But that's not true. You don't get in just because you're from the IIT, or you don't get in just because you're a national level athlete. There is much, much more. They're looking for the right kind of person. They're looking for their DNA. And there are many people who are very highly qualified who don't get in. And then they have this problem that, we were so good and we got these many marks in graduation, and we were from this engineering college and we were toppers and gold medalists. And, there must be some flaw in the selection of the armed forces. Yeah, I would have been such a wonderful asset, to the Navy, and I would have become an admiral or something they have in their mind. I don't know what, but that's not how the Fauji thinks. Huh? The Fauji thinks differently. So that's what I understood from that senior officer's words. And I said that smart nahi banna, be natural, be yourself. Because if you try to outsmart them, they will figure out. If not on the first day, on the third day, they will figure out. And when they figure out, they'll reject you. You can't fool the Fauji. So that is how I got through. I said, okay, this is me, yeah? And I am trying to present the best version of myself. And I leave it to your good officers. You have to decide for me. So please decide, and this is me, and they selected me.
In fact, sir, काफी लोग, they try again and again and again for the SSB. And we know, like, उनके दिल में होता है कि कहीं ना कहीं we will make it. And there are people who have made it after 10 attempts also. Like Colonel Ashutosh Sharma was there. Went on to become an icon himself. So any thoughts on that, sir, कि कहीं पे रुकना चाहिए या जब तक उम्र नहीं होता है, या attempt जब तक दे सकते हैं तो तब तक दे सकते हैं? Any thought on that, sir?
I don't think there is anything, because I'll tell you, ये जो typical Fauji aspirants होते हैं ना, defense aspirants, 90% of them, they are the Jununi types. There is no logic. You join Fauj because they want to join Fauj because they love the Fauj. And in love, there is no logic. I will give 3 attempts and then I will stop. And they keep on doing it because that is what they wish to do. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing because, you see, it's not that one day you will succeed and do it. It's just, I think it's an expression of love. You mentioned the Colonel Saab who got through after 10 attempts. I think it's simply an expression of love for the uniform and love for the ethos and DNA of the armed forces, where, people keep on. And it's not that these people are not, somebody was telling me about Dr. Kalam, he couldn't get through SSB. He became the president of India. So there are a lot of people, and maybe and just because you fail SSB or you couldn't get into the force does not mean you're any lesser of a person. I mean, you could become the president of India like Dr. Kalam did. So who knows? But I think it's this love affair with the Fauj which a lot of people have, and they keep on going back. वो होता है. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a very sweet thing. I think it's a very pure thing to happen.
Very true, sir. I think वो जो जुनून होता है ना, I think we have 2 or 3 aspirants also here. They are hardcore and बन भी जाएंगे, sir. That's why I invited them to hear you. So I mean, it's a beautiful perspective, sir. Love का कोई logic नहीं होता है ना, तो I think that's a very beautiful thing you said.
Yeah.
Even Amitabh Bachchan, I heard, sir, he had also attempted SSB long back, and then he said मैं भी clear नहीं हुआ.
होता है. There are people who go there and they do it, and उसमें भी I've been through 5 times, and people look up to that guy. 5 बार. So it's good. Yeah, it's good. I think it's very beautiful, and this is what separates the armed forces from other jobs, because it's not a job at all. Yeah, it's just It's just a life you're living, and the kind of brotherhood and camaraderie and the kind of knowledge you gain from your seniors and from your instructors, and the kind of brotherhood you have, the sense of safety, the sense of well-being, this entire thing, where that comprises of the Forge. And I just want to tell all the defense aspirants who are out there who are listening that, essentially, you make bonds in the Forge that will last for a lifetime. And there are some things which are given even if you don't know the person. Even if you're meeting him for the first time or his wife for the first time, and you go to their house, if you have some work, you can leave your wife and kids at their place and come back after a few hours and be rest assured that they'll be absolutely safe and will be looked after as if they were part of that officer's own family. So it's, a lot of people think that it's about the weapon systems, it's about the lovely cantonments or, the naval bases or the Air Force bases, and it's about the entire glamour. That's not true, actually, to my mind, to my limited understanding. I think it's more to do with the DNA of the armed forces. Yeah, it's more to do with the DNA of the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. It's about who we are as a people and what do we stand for. I think that sets us apart. Baki to hatiyar to paise se bhi koi khareed leta hai. You have money, you can buy any amount of weapons in the world, but that does not give you that regimental ethos. That does not give you that sense of brotherhood. Which so once you wear the uniform, you know who you are, you know who the other person is, and you know what he stands for. And there are some things, obviously people will be different. Okay, this is not to say that people in the Army, Navy, and Air Force are similar or absolutely the same. They're human beings and they tend to be different. Each will be different from the other, but there are certain minimum guarantees, if I may call them that. There are certain minimum guarantees you get when you speak to an officer. You'll know that he's telling the truth. You know that he's not going to lie to you. He's not going to cheat. He's going to be upright, right? But there might be a guy who will be very happy, and there might be another guy with a short fuse. You get all kinds in the Forge. But there are some basics that are given for granted. Ki, yaar, Fauji hai, ढंग का होगा, इतना तो होगा ही इसका. So I think that is what people look forward to.